Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today, we're going to take a closer look at a coin that might just be sitting in your pocket change or tucked away in a jar somewhere in your home. It's the 1974 Washington quarter with the D mint mark, a coin struck in Denver, Colorado, that carries both historical significance and collector interest. While at first glance it may appear to be just another quarter, there's much more to this piece of American coinage than meets the eye. By the end of this video, you'll understand its background, design features, mintage, and potential value in today's collector market. So, let's dive into the story of the 1974 D Washington quarter. History and background. The Washington quarter has been a staple of U.S. coinage since 1932, originally designed to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. The design was created by sculptor John Flanagan, whose profile of Washington has remained on the coin for decades with only slight modifications over time. By 1974, the coin was still being struck with the same familiar obverse portrait of Washington, while the reverse displayed the heraldic eagle with outstretched wings, an image many Americans grew up seeing daily in their change. 1974 itself was an interesting year for U.S. coinage. The nation was in the midst of economic struggles, inflation was high, and silver had long since been removed from circulating quarters. Instead, these coins were produced in a copper-nickel-clad composition, which was introduced in 1965 after the government discontinued 90% silver quarters. This shift was meant to keep coinage affordable to produce, as silver's value was rising quickly. By the mid-1970s, collectors were already paying close attention to errors, mint marks, and subtle variations in modern coins, making the 1974 D an object of study for enthusiasts. The mint mark and production. The D mint mark on the 1974 Washington quarter indicates that the coin was struck at the Denver Mint. The Denver facility was, and still is, one of the primary coin-producing locations in the United States, and in 1974 it struck a massive number of quarters, over 353 million pieces. That means that this particular coin isn't considered rare by mintage numbers alone. However, as with many modern-era coins, condition, striking quality, and die varieties can set some examples apart from the rest. On these coins, the mint mark is located on the obverse, just to the right of Washington's ponytail, above the 7 in the date. Collectors often examine this area carefully to check whether the mint mark is well-defined, doubled, or exhibits any unusual placement, as such details can make certain quarters more desirable. Design details and what to look for. When examining a 1974 D quarter, start with the obverse. Washington's profile should show clear details in the hair, particularly the bow and curls, as well as a strong outline of his jaw and cheekbone. Weakly struck coins may lack definition, which lowers their collector value. On the reverse, pay attention to the eagle's wings and chest feathers. Sharp details here are a sign of a higher quality strike. Collectors also keep an eye out for error coins from this year. Examples may include off-center strikes, double dies, or coins struck on the wrong planchet. These types of errors are rare, but when they do surface, they can transform an ordinary quarter into a valuable collectible worth far more than face value. Value and collectability. Now, let's talk about the question most people have. How much is a 1974 D Washington quarter worth? In circulated condition, most of these coins are worth only face value, 25 cents, simply because so many were minted. However, in uncirculated condition, especially coins graded mint state 65 or higher, values start to climb. A bright, lustrous example with no major marks can sell for a few dollars, and exceptional pieces with pristine surfaces and strong strikes can fetch significantly more, sometimes reaching into the tens of dollars. For collectors building sets of Washington quarters, having a high-grade 1974 D is an important step toward completion. Registry set collectors in particular are always on the hunt for the finest known examples, and this demand can drive auction prices much higher for top-quality coins. Closing thoughts. So, the 1974 D Washington quarter may not be a hidden treasure in every case, but it remains an important piece of American numismatic history. It represents a time when coinage had fully transitioned from silver to clad composition, a period marked by high mintage numbers and economic uncertainty in the United States. For collectors, it's a coin that offers plenty of opportunities to learn, study, and perhaps discover an unusual variety or error along the way. If you've got some 1974 quarters at home, take a closer look. You never know what you might find. And even if it's just a common example, it still tells the story of our nation's coinage and the artistry that has passed through millions of hands over the decades. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive into the 1974 D. Washington Quarter. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more coin history and collecting guides, and leave a comment below if you've ever found a valuable Washington quarter in your own change. Until next time, happy collecting!